Hi everyone, I'm Linda Rourke. Larry Deanne will have For the Record next, and then right after that, Hamilton Life. And on today's show, we're obviously at the Art Gallery of Hamilton. We'll talk a little bit about a new feature here. We're also going to head to Cayuga to the Twisted Lemon to show you how to add some jazz to your oils at home. Jackie checks out a really cool gadget at McMaster University. It's pretty much a hands-free, totally hands-free wheelchair. That's all coming up on Hamilton Life. But first, here is For the Record with Larry Deanne.
Well, thank you very much, Linda. I am Larry Deanne, and this is the Thursday, April 21st edition of For the Record. And in fact, it's Council Thursday. Every week at this time, it's your chance to hear what one of our councillors has to say about goings-on in the city. And that's where we begin. And today we have a conversation with a councillor who's in his third elected term on council, someone who has earned a reputation not only as an environmentalist, but a planner, an academic, and someone who brings some real heft and intellect to council as well. We didn't agree always when we served on council, but I always respected his point of view, and that's none other than Councillor Brian McHattie of Ward 1. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks, Larry.
And Brian, it's great to see you here, and I don't think I'm overstating it by suggesting that when you take a principled perspective, it's always because you've done your homework. How much time does it take you to bone up for the debates at council?
Oh, the agendas are immense, you know, with 3 standing committees involved with 3 or 4 standing committees depending on the week, and council and all the other issues like farmers markets and all that kind of stuff. So it's, boy, dozens of hours a week, I think, involved in that kind of thing.
Well, you've certainly made your presence felt. So let's talk about some of the issues that are citywide, and then we'll go and talk about the events in Ward 1 as well. And we've got to start with the latest news, hot off the press. Council, I believe it was yesterday, approved a 0.8% tax increase. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's the lowest tax increase since amalgamation in the city of Hamilton. So we're pretty pleased with how it's gone this year. And really a departure from previous years. Chris Murray, our city manager, has really set the tone differently, working with senior management staff. Council making it very clear after being through the election, municipal election last fall, hearing from folks that they'd like to see as low as an increase as absolutely possible. We called for 0%, we're at 0.8. Another interesting number, though, is that if you look at the city departments, we're actually at minus 0.1%. The other costs being involved with the boards and agencies and outside agencies. So city staff have done a wonderful job working with council this year to get a very low tax increase.
Well, and some during the municipal election, I recall, were calling for the 0 and are probably pleased that you've come as close as possible, so you should all be congratulated for that. Although it isn't quite 0, is it, because of the area rating exercise?
That's right. That was about 2 weeks ago. Council agreed on an area rating change that we've been talking about, well, since amalgamation again, I guess 10 years. And as a result of the urban-rural split, people paying more for services in some areas and paying different amounts in different parts of the city, there is a range anywhere from about 3% tax increase down to the 0.9 as it turns out in the old city of Hamilton. So there are differences.
And that'll be so for the next 4 years, because the area rating regime is implemented over a 4-year span. But beyond that, then whatever council decides will be the increase or decrease will be it for the whole municipality. Am I right about that?
That's right, after it's phased in over that period of time. And then as we've talked about, there's sort of a stage 2 of area rating, which is the transit issues, which are not being phased in at this point. They'll come in 2014, 2015 with the next council.
And you know, we'll talk about that as we get closer to that implementation, I'm sure. But one of the things, Brian, that was in the paper recently, and I know that you had some very strong feelings about, was this whole notion of garbage pickup, going to a bi-weekly, that is every 2 week bi-monthly pickup rather than every week for household garbage, not for the green bin or for the recyclables. Do you want to tell us why you supported what some people called a reduction in service?
Yes. Yeah, the way waste reductions happen in Hamilton has changed radically over the last 5-7 years or so, where we've reduced our waste significantly by about 45%, 50% at this point, more in some parts of the city. So the old scenario where we pick up garbage every week was based on a situation where there was a lot more garbage. Nowadays, because of the reductions, the blue box, the green box being ramped up, people aren't producing the same amounts of garbage, the one bag limit. So the idea is to pick up every 2 weeks for garbage. The real benefits of that for the city is anywhere from a $1.8 to about a $2.9 million saving per year, picking up once every 2 weeks instead of weekly, as well as the trucks not being on the road as often, greenhouse gas emissions reduced, and people probably continuing to reduce their garbage even more. So I thought it was a win-win scenario, and I'm certainly going to be speaking to that issue at Council this coming Wednesday.
That's right, because that was a decision made at committee that needs to be ratified by Council. What's your sense of where this vote will go?
Well, I think it could be close, actually. Public Works Committee, it was very few people. It was Councillor Powers and myself, I think, supported the staff position. The other important point is this decision is just to go out for tender on a couple of different options, one of which includes the status quo option. So all we're really asking for is the opportunity to go out to the market and say, if we're going to do bi-weekly or if we're going to stick with the plan we have now, the weekly coverage, what does it cost to do that? And then it's up to Council to make that decision. So I find it unfortunate the other councils are not even wanting that information to be brought forward to look for those kind of savings. So it's really just at the RFP, the request for proposal stage. So I'm hoping we get that kind of support on Wednesday.
All right, we'll keep our ears and eyes open to see exactly what Council does. I can certainly see valid points made on both sides of that argument. Councillor, another issue that you had to deal with, that you yourself also, I think, led the charge, was the very nice problem of having to decide what to do with an $8 million amount of money that was given to us by the province to deal with some of our issues. And there was some debate as to exactly how to spend that money. What did Council eventually decide?
Yeah, the $8 million was something called the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, monies that we get from the province every year because we have significant social service costs. And in past years, the money has just kind of been tucked away in funds based on what staff felt was the best thing to do with that money. Last year, Council decided to spend it on sidewalk repairs. And a number of us felt that that money was important to be reinvested in poverty reduction, given our commitment to make Hamilton the best place to raise a child. So this year, working with staff, we put together a policy to split that money 50-50, 50% to poverty reduction and 50% to infrastructure repairs such as sidewalks or affordable housing was another thing that we put forward as a place that money could be reinvested. So at this point, we got a positive result from Council, and we're looking at $4 million to be spent on poverty reduction from that source.
And another issue has to do with Christie Lake. What is that all about, Councillor?
Well, the Hamilton Conservation Authority, who own the Christie Conservation Area, have been approached by Daniel Lanois, the famous Hamilton-born musician and producer of music, to put together a concert that would be held in the park, and with some of the revenues to go back to the Conservation Authority. So the details are still being worked out on that, but that would be a fundraising opportunity for the Conservation Authority. I sit on the Conservation Authority this time for Council, and as well as an entertainment opportunity for Hamiltonians.
What a great way to raise money, and using someone like Daniel Lanois. We've only got a few moments left before the break, Councillor. The Red Hill lawsuit, it's been hanging around for a long, long time. You're saying drop it. Why hasn't it been dropped up to now?
Well, I think it's been a discussion of councillors where they feel they provided with the legal advice that suggests we still have an opportunity to gain those funds back from the federal government. And it's been a long time now. I think that's been going for about 6 years or so, that lawsuit. You know, the concern I have is that a number of the people named in that lawsuit are people who live in Hamilton. They're Hamiltonians working for Environment Canada, Department of Fisheries and Oceans. Geez, Sheila Copps is still named in that lawsuit.
Yes, but of course the suit is against the government, not those individuals. But listen,
well, they're named though.
Yeah, they are. We will pick up this discussion right after the break, Councillor. Sit tight. There's lots more to talk about. Viewers, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be right back. And welcome back to the April 21st edition of For the Record, in fact, Council Thursday. And we're in conversation with Councillor Brian McHattie of Ward 1, Westdale. And Councillor, we were talking about a whole series of important citywide issues, but let's focus on Ward 1 right now. And I've got to ask you, because one of the big issues that affects the whole city really, but it certainly is centered in your ward, and it's the whole change with the McMaster Hospital and the ER being switched about. It's been barely, what, a month now since that's been implemented. You get phone calls, I know, on everything, even though it may not be within your jurisdiction to fix the problems. What are you hearing from your constituents?
Yeah, the changeover was April 4th, and the McMaster Adult Emerge closed, the Children's Emerge opened, and the Urgent Care Center, or the West End Urgent Care Center, opened on the very same day. I'm not hearing a lot from citizens yet at this point, so not a lot of that's filtering through, but our emergency services department, the folks, the paramedics who provide the ambulances, are finding that, unfortunately, that right across the city, the wait times in the Emerge department, as we're bringing in patients and unloading those patients into the Emerge, is probably up about 25%. So we're really concerned at this point with our response time to the ambulance getting from the station to the person who needs the help throughout Hamilton, and then into the ambulance, into the Emerge and back out again. So we may well have to add another ambulance, which has been the discussion, the financial discussion to do that is costly for the city. But we'll probably be needing to make that decision in the next month. And
you're looking at the statistics on that, because I know that there was always pressure to add more and more services, but you'll be making that decision based on the statistics that are presented.
That's right. Those are daily stats, particularly right now with the change happening. I just talked to the head of EMS, Brent Browett, yesterday, and that's where he indicated so far we're taking 25% longer than we had previously. And as you know, we already had a problem with unloading patients in the Emerge. The Code Zero events is what we call them, where only one ambulance or fewer are available across the city. So there's a real concern over that, and our response time of about 10 minutes is now inching up around 12 minutes. So we have to decide as a council whether that's acceptable or whether we need to add more service. Of course, where does the money come from to add the service will be the decision.
Yes, indeed. Well, let's lighten things up a little. We've got a couple of other serious items as well. But Earth Day and Earth Week celebration, of course, are coming. And there are some tree plantings at Churchill Park, which has been happening for a while. Do you want to tell the viewers about that, Councillor?
Yeah, that's a great history in the area, actually. Earth Day Hamilton has been doing plantings for over a decade now. At Princess Point, previously the RBG lands, and now at Churchill Park in a location over by the community gardens in that part of, by the Avery. Folks will be familiar with that. And that's occurring this Saturday at 10 a.m. Opportunity to plant out an area. The real neat part about it is it expands the size of the forest coming out of the Coots Paradise lands, and really adds to the ecological benefits, ecological function of that area for wildlife. So that's a neat project that's been going on for a long time, a chance to do something for Earth Day.
Excellent. And back to the perhaps not as pleasant issues, and it has to do with school closures. And I know that the school board, and this is not a council jurisdiction, but it certainly affects neighborhoods when schools are closed, and you've got some potentially being closed in your ward. What's your take on that?
Yeah, we just had one meeting so far, so we're a little uncertain as to how it's going to go, but it's the elementary schools in the west part of Hamilton. So Prince Philip School, the far side of Main Street over by St. Mary's High School, and Dalewood Middle School on Main Street, and George R. Allen School in Westdale Village. Those are the three that are being talked about. As to whether a larger school, a JK to grade 8 school, is put in place somewhere in there, and what that does to the existing schools. How about French immersion? How does that work, and that sort of thing. We've got the Dalewood Rec Center as our piece on that, and last September Council decided that the Dalewood Rec Center would be rebuilt on the Dalewood site, no matter what the school board does. So we've made that decision as a city, as a council, and we're going to see how the school board takes their decision, working with the public over the next couple of months.
And my guess is that at some point it'll become contentious as well, because school closures always seems to bring contention out in people as folks see their neighborhood school perhaps close up.
Exactly.
As well, McMaster University, of course, is in your ward. And I know that when I was involved on council, you took great interest and leadership in town and gown issues, making sure that there was good interface between the two. And we're heading towards move-out time for McMaster students as their year ends. What can you tell viewers about that?
Well, it's always a bit of a challenge, for both the move-in in September and the move-out in April, early May. Students are leaving, couches out on the corners and this sort of thing, and it's a great time for students because they're finishing their year, finishing their exams. We talked earlier. I've got a fourth-year student, my son, graduating from Mac, so I know what it's a great time for them. So they're feeling joyous and celebrating and that kind of thing. So we need to help them do that safely and as quietly as possible with many of the residents living in those same areas. So we'll be adding additional enforcement staff both on the city side, municipal law enforcement, and Hamilton Police as well to help the students do it safely and hopefully quietly. And then cleaning up the garbage that occurs, that's a city responsibility, and we'll be doing that as well.
And in fact, when the move-out happened at Mohawk College, the police also put out some messages indicating that there would be very little tolerance for shenanigans. They may do the same for the McMaster move-out as well, I'm guessing.
That's certainly the case, and that's how we've handled it the last couple of years. The McMaster Student Union's been great to work with on that kind of thing, and I think we've seen substantive improvements with McMaster and the students.
Well, Councillor, listen, there are many more issues to talk about, but we've run out of time. Time is always our enemy here, but we thank you for coming. Continued good work on Council, and let's hope that Council maintains this spirit of working together that we've seen over the last little while. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks very much, Larry.
And viewers, please stay tuned. We will be right back.
Larry Deanne's wardrobe, provided by Newman's Menswear. Newman's Menswear, 773 King Street East, 1 block east of Sanford. Parking available behind the store.
In our notebook, we begin with our usual police file. In fact, the police are looking for this man in connection with a very serious assault that took place at the downtown YMCA. His name is Joseph Snellgrove, and it's alleged he seriously cut a man during an altercation on April the 7th at the Y on James Street South. Snellgrove fled the scene. No weapon was found, but he's been charged with assault with a weapon and assault causing bodily harm. If you know of his whereabouts, call 911 or Crime Stoppers. Meantime, the police have arrested and charged a Hamilton man with sexual assault. This after he responded to an online ad. Allegedly, two young ladies, ages 16 and 18, responded to a man's inquiry regarding babysitting. On Tuesday, they went to his Jackson Street West apartment where they were sexually assaulted. Charged with 2 counts of sexual assault is 28-year-old Nassim Akbari. And on to more interesting and pleasant news. Walter Gretzky was at Prince of Wales Elementary this morning to help launch a new program from the Canadian Institute for the Blind.
This is the last one I'm going to score this time.
Well, we're here today because we're launching our Shades of Fun activities through all of our schools that are going to be happening during Vision Health Month. So we brought Walter Gretzky down today because he's our local community ambassador. Prince of Wales was one of our great participants last year in our Shades of Fun Day. So we thought that we would kick off the tour today by bringing them all down, letting everybody know the importance of why we're wearing our sunglasses, and just trying to promote vision health and vision awareness through CNIB.
Well, I've been involved with the CNIB since Wayne was 18 years old. He's 50 now, so that's 32 years. And it's important to me because I'm a Christian. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you had someone visually impaired in a family, then you want people to help, and we've always tried to help others.
And Shades of Fun Day is Thursday, May the 26th. Find out all about it at shadesoffunday.ca. And Pizza Pizza's annual Slices for Smiles fundraiser in support of the Children's Miracle Network and the McMaster Children's Hospital is underway. And to help us understand what is happening and why, our guest is Pat Finelli, who's the Chief Marketing Officer for Pizza Pizza. Welcome to the program, Pat.
Hi, how are you today, Larry?
I'm very well. And listen, you've got an exciting, because I saw the pizza, you've got an exciting promotion going on. Tell us all about it.
Yes, basically we get a lot of requests, you know, from different sponsorships of hockey teams or local, different hockey, baseball, soccer. So we incorporated Slices for Smiles because, you know, kids are our future. And we partner with the Children's Miracle Network. And next week, April 25th to May 1st, we've got a new 10-inch half smiling pizza for $2, and a portion of the proceeds are going to the Children's Miracle Network, which in turn will go to the McMaster Children's Hospital in this territory.
And of course that was Taylor right here from our studio, smiling with a pizza in hand, and I know that the crew here is going to be enjoying that in a little while. But Pat, tell me, this is not just a Hamilton promotion, this is Canada-wide, or is it?
Yes, it is. It's all our traditional restaurants are going to be participating in this. We've raised just under $600,000 over the last 3 years for the Children's Miracle Network, and every store looks forward to this. It's a great way of giving back to the community, and it's a great way of keeping our kids in check and making them very, very happy.
And of course, you've chosen the McMaster Children's Hospital, but does that charity change around from year to year?
No, basically we've been with Children's Miracle Network now for 3 years, and here it is, the McMaster Children's Hospital in Toronto, the Sick Kids Children's Hospital. And no, it's a great partnership, and like I said, every kid loves pizza, and if we can help make kids happier through this fundraising, that's what we want to do at Pizza Pizza.
Well, listen, Pat, thank you very much for coming in and telling us about it, and I know that the charity is extremely worthwhile. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry.
And the question that some people ask, is water fluoridation a safe public health policy, or is it an outdated hazardous waste management policy? Well, you may get an answer to that question at an Earth Day forum taking place tomorrow, Friday the 22nd, from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Dundas Town Hall. If you're interested in this topic, please go. Architectural heritage, of course, is the topic up for discussion next Thursday at the Art Gallery of Hamilton's Thursday Night Talk series. And we have a couple of guests to tell us about that, and they are people who make it their business to and pleasure to appreciate our built heritage. And they are, of course, Glenn Norton, Senior Business Development Consultant for the City of Hamilton, Downtown Renewal Department, and Matt Jelly, Community Advocate, Art Director for H Magazine, and someone who has made it his passion to appreciate buildings and preserve buildings in our city. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
Well, Matt, let's start with you because you have been an advocate for our built heritage for a long time. What drives this passion?
A lot of things drive that passion. I mean, it started for me, one of the first buildings that I became very passionate in Hamilton. It was the Lister Block,
I
which is
remember
vacant.
that building.
We had a lot of discussions, you and I. The Lister Block is currently undergoing a restoration, and that's sort of where it started for me. Over the past year, I've been looking at vacant commercial and industrial properties to ensure that they're in accordance with property standards bylaws. So heritage is one interest of mine, but also just the vacant building stock in general in Hamilton and what our strategy is going forward to find new solutions for those buildings.
Indeed. And Glenn, of course, it's your job to ensure that downtown is thriving. Not only is it your job, but it's your passion as well. You, even before you worked for the city, took on an old building and restored it very nicely. And the topic that's up for discussion is restore, repurpose, or replace. What's your take on all of this?
A great question, Larry, and much like Matt, I am a lover of old buildings and would really like to see that this city maintain that heritage and that we not lose them through neglect or through misuse or abuse. So I'm happy to be part of this panel coming up next week and sort of talk about what role the city has to play in this in terms of both carrots and sticks, both rewards for people who preserve the buildings and the penalties for people who don't. So I'm really looking forward to the discussion with Matt.
Well, and Matt, you're a participant. Tell us about when is this happening? What does it cost to get in? Who else is on the panel?
Well, the event takes place next Thursday at the Art Gallery of Hamilton, and on the panel are myself, Glenn Norton, of course, Jeff Feswick of Historia Restoration, and the panel will be moderated by David Adames. Actually, maybe Glenn, there was one more name added to the panel, maybe that
yep.
it's not off the top of my head right now.
Kayla Jones,
That's
a
right.
heritage planner from the University of Waterloo, will be joining us.
Well, it sounds like a whole group of very knowledgeable people, and it should be a very interesting panel to listen to. So thank you for participating. Good luck to all of you, and thank you for having this passion for our city and its buildings.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
And a couple of notes before we go. This Saturday, April the 23rd, which happens to be Shakespeare's birthday, by the way, is your chance to get out and plant trees at the Iramosa Karst Conservation Area. Please meet in the parking lot on Upper Mount Albion Saturday morning at 9 and come dressed for gardening. And advance polls, there is an election going on. Advance polls for the current federal election open tomorrow and continue on Saturday and Monday. The polls will be open from noon till 8 each day. Check the back of your voter information card for the location near you, and you need to bring some identification with you. And that wraps up this edition of For the Record. Our thanks today go to Councillor Brian McHattie, Pat Finelli, Glenn Norton, and Matt Jelly. And now viewers, please stay tuned for Linda Rourke and Hamilton Life.